And Shujaat, just make sure I have it right. Saudagar?
Yeah.
Actually, Saudagar.
Saudagar.
Saudagar. Okay.
Saudagar.
Well, yeah, I want to make sure I get it right. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Shujaat and Ali.
Ali.
Yeah.
Yes. Shujaat Ali. All right. Actually, as I come west, the name kind of goes like in all directions. Fazal, Ali, Ali.
Right. The different inflections.
Yeah.
You
I mean,
like the I inflected though, Ali.
Ali.
Yeah, it's just straight. Like
Ali.
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 Copy.
Here we are on the Festival Daily Buzz from the Treasure Mountain Inn in Park City, talking about Sundance and Slamdance films. Here with Angela Tabora and Erin Lim from Bitch Talk. My name is John Wildman. I'm the editor-in-chief of FilmsGoneWild.com. And on this segment, we're going to talk about The Underbug, which is a Slamdance title. We have the director, Shujaat Saudagar, and we have Ali Fazal. He is one of the stars of the film, also a producer. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you,
so much.
John.
Thanks, guys.
Pleasure to be here.
All right, Shujaat, you're up first to introduce our audience to the film. They haven't seen it as yet, so tell us about The Underbug.
So The Underbug was born out of very troubled times during the pandemic. We shot it during the pandemic in 2022 August, and things had just started opening up in Mumbai, in India, and we had to get security passes and go and shoot it. It was a subject that we all believed in. It stemmed from the social, political environment in the country at that time. And as I said, we were all kind of troubled in terms of, a voice that we wanted to bring forth and to build that in a narrative. So The Underbug reflected a lot of what we saw with the coronavirus. An unknown entity, an unknown enemy that we were kind of facing, and I think momentarily the world got together to, momentarily I would say, got together to fight this unknown entity, and that was for me the impetus to create a horror film, as in genre horror, but it deals with the horror of man and what plagues us. More importantly as an epidemic, which is hate. So the film does talk about hate politics and what it has done to all of us across the globe, just not India, I would say.
Ooh, yeah. As the director, Shujaat, I want to know about the opening scene, because this is a horror film, but we're brought into this quiet and nature, and it just captures you right away. So was that an idea at the beginning of this film, or at the end, in the middle? When did you decide to make that part so beautiful to start with?
Yeah, I was hugely inspired by Milton's Paradise Lost. And I wanted to create something right in the beginning of the film which reflected the Garden of Eden and the serpent coming in. And here, metaphorically, serpent being, mankind coming in, and we've got this destructive nature where we go and, tend to destroy things more than create things. So that was the idea behind creating nature, so to speak. And when we see the characters, the human beings enter that paradise and what happens to it. So it was coming from, right from the beginning, on the onset, I had that idea.
Yeah, and that also speaks to the sound design, which I was blown away by with this film. Can you talk about creating the tension throughout? I think I heard a didgeridoo at some point, the insect sounds, all the sound effects. And Ali, can you speak to acting within this tension without hearing the sound effects in the moment? So whoever wants to start.
Ali, please.
I mean, it was, I suppose when we were on location, we were blessed with the natural sounds of that particular place we chose, and happened to be our friend's home, and it had this dilapidated old world charm to it, which kind of also depicted the centuries old evolutionary thing about it, which was just quite fascinating. These two people who are at the essence rioters in the middle of riots, who've just come there, find shelter. And I took a lot from the silences, which I thought were really loud. These small objects in the house that you would randomly see because there was really less light. And of course including the radio, which had its own voice and its own character that was sort of shaping up the story. So we took pieces from there, and I had to play off a lot of from my co-actor's lines and his punctuation. And of course, I don't want to give the thing away, but I had to sort of match my intonations to his. Keep the language very neutral, because India is also, we're blessed with so many dialects from the north to the south, so I had to kind of find a middle ground of all those accents and all those speaking patterns, and then we went with the flow. We had certain images and visuals and ideas in mind, and what I loved about it was that we all collaborated together. So I suppose the sounds became a part of us at the time, and there were noises in our heads. But again, I don't want to sound too indulgent, overindulgent, but I think it might have helped. And be honest, I haven't seen the final cut. I've seen some of it. Yeah.
It's pretty good. You should watch it. Yeah.
No, I was really scared because
I think that's just the nervous actor in him.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, I know, because Shujaat Bhai sent it to me, and I was like, I've seen some of it on the dub, and
Yeah, no, even in terms of the sound design, we wanted to create a sense of hollowness. Because it's not a typical jump scare horror film, which I love jump scare horror films as well. But yeah, I wanted to create that kind of hollowness which reflected the characters. We scored the film 4 times over till we got the sounds right. So we used a lot of earthy instruments, which had to kind of reflect. I wanted the texture and the quality of that. And there are points where it goes really high, and then there are scenes which are in a vacuum. We wanted to create where we had sucked out all the sound completely, like for the example, the dining table scene, the dining scene, and we've taken diegetics out of Ali's character.
That's why I think the meter I think got set for me was with Hussein's breathing, and so at least in my head that was the beat from the word go, and of course I'm assuming the sound then came on top of.
Well, Ali, let's also talk about the fact that when you're doing when you're acting in something that you are also either directing or in this case producing, you have a big picture responsibility and knowledge in your head as far as what Shujaat's trying to accomplish, everything. But then, scene by scene, moment by moment, you've got to be an actor, and you have to compartmentalize, and that's not always easy to do. Talk about that, about how for you, that process of letting go of business, film business, and then going, well, no, I've got to deliver for my acting partner. I've got to do what I need to do acting wise in the scene.
No, that's a great question, but I think from the word go, it was all sorts of collaboration for us. For me as an actor, I've never walked into a film with my own set of lines and an idea of the screenplay, and then Shujaat Bhai had one and Hussein had, because they were the writers, but then we collaborated these 3-4 screenplays and ideas together and molded something. So we would almost, and we shot the whole thing in chronological order, so I had to multitask. Yes, producer shoes came on later, so I don't think that really I suppose as an actor,
I think Ali's primary commitment was to the storytelling of it.
Yeah.
I think the business aspect of it, seeped in, much later. I don't think it's fully even seeped in right now. I think that's a great part. That's a great thing about Ali, because he's such a creative collaborator. Besides just being, an actor, and he's done a lot of stage as well. He writes really well. So that understanding was really important to collaborate, because I wanted my cast and crew, to come with what they thought of the narrative that we want to put out.
God, I thought that was unusual at first.
I wanted it to feel personal.
Yeah.
Because it was a tough time and we didn't know what was happening. Unfortunately, people were losing their lives all over the world, and it was, mental health was taking a beating, where everyone was locked up. So I wanted to understand, what does Ali as an individual or Hussein as an individual think about what is happening, and then to filter it into a narrative structure.
I totally shed it off at the end of it, I think. I think we were all going through, I think the world was suffering at the time. I had suffered a huge loss in my own personal life. So I suppose it all came together and we addressed the horrors.
Yeah.
You know, in 8 days actually, fun fact.
Wow.
Yeah, we
Wow.
finished the whole film in,
Yeah.
we prepped for 3 days. Day in and night out, and my God, these
Yeah,
guys
we
were
rehearsed and we, did blockings and
Yeah.
all that stuff
That's unbelievable.
for 3 days,
Wow.
and then we just went and shot, and we would sit every night and discuss what we shot, and we thought, this is not good, not good. Let's go and reshoot this bit again. Let's try and see this. We didn't get this message across that we wanted to, or the exposition was
it
too much.
Yeah, it was fascinating because
Yeah.
I remember having this thing. I would. So I come from a school where my director is my guru, right? I mean, he could hit me on set, and I'd be like, okay, no.
Yeah, I get it.
But here, he was giving me a chance to debate this out. That I could say, no, wait, you know what? I don't agree with this, but maybe I see it this way. And he was like, no, yeah, okay, I hear you. And let's try this, and let's try both, and see what happens. And that was, because we actors, we're so spoiled. Especially when you're part of, different kinds of narratives. You come in with bound scripts, you're part of a studio or blah, 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 and, everything's done for you. You just got to get in your costumes and I remember sending someone to the tailor to get that costume stitched, my pants stitched, because I'd gained so much
Yeah,
weight.
I told them get your own clothes.
I wasn't fitting into my pants.
Well, that's the thing. Also, when you're doing a thriller, when you're doing a horror film, you're trying to build, which this film does so amazingly well. We've talked about the atmospheric, like the overwhelming nature of it. But when you're directing that, you also have to deal with effects gags. And you have things like that, so you go, Ali's like trying to get in this emotional space, and you're like going, wait, we've got to do this blood thing. Is the gun going to squirt? Is it going to come out? And so you're worried about that, and yet you've got to be in the right space, and and talk about that, about getting that balance right, so that when you end up with the footage, you had a great dramatic performance, but also this technical stuff also worked.
Yes, it did. It did. In fact, we had done like seriously just homemade prosthetics. I would, big shout out to Melanie, my makeup artist, who during the pandemic sat and figured stuff out. It was challenging. The thing is, the way we kind of staged it was a very free-flowing kind of staging, because I didn't want to interrupt. In fact, we had shots which were 9 minutes, 10 minutes, 11 minutes long, single takes. And I didn't want to cut, and I wanted to pry on Ali and Hussein's stage experience in terms of both of them interacting with each other. And that's where Tasadduq Hussain, my cinematographer, has done a phenomenal job of it. We just carried 4 lights and 2 lenses. That's what we shot the entire film on. Of course, we shot it technically, on the Sony Venice, which I wanted a finished look to the film. We were fortunate in terms of the atmosphere that it rained all 10 days we were there. So that really lent to creating the atmosphere and the light, the softness, and the
Yes.
As you say, that adds to your production value.
Because initially I wanted it to be a night film, and then we realized we don't have the budgets to pump in so many lights, and then we decided, okay, we'll do it as a day film, but then nature really helped us there. But yes, there are a few scenes where we had to get the blood and and the prosthetics on. Also, we were a really tight, small crew because of the pandemic, and I think we worked more efficiently. We never felt that we are breaking emotion, or we are breaking the flow of for the actors, because few things I had in mind already in terms of how I'm going to edit it. So we also staged it where it's comfortable in a way for the actors to be lying down if we have to put prosthetics on. So that was well planned in that sense, although we kept the chaos of moving with them.
Yeah. But to add to that, I think it was. Again, I keep coming back to rhythm, and that's the thing that goes with me a long way as an actor, and I think that's something that's helped me sort of break away every time there could be a small thing like, oh, the needle's missing, you know, and so somebody's got to sew it in, and you know, you're waiting with so much like blood in your stomach, and like, yeah, somebody's literally like,
Yeah.
oh, there's not enough light. Yeah, we just got 4 lights,
Yeah.
and they're all in other positions. But
Yeah, but one fun thing, not fun thing at that moment, we had followed Hussein when he enters throughout the house, and it was clocking, and my ED came and told me, my first came and whispered to me, "This is 9 minutes." I said, okay, cool, great. And then he goes and picks a cigarette. He finds a cigarette and a lighter, and he reached there, and production had forgotten to put the lighter. And
After the night.
Yeah, and Hussein takes the cigarette, and he suddenly says, "There's no lighter here, guys." And I'm like, oh God, we have to do this again. So we cut, and we had to do the entire thing again because there was no lighter.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Well,
Well-
fortunately, eventually that actually worked out because it's such a wonderfully just an effective atmospheric thriller. It really just well done, well put together. Again, the title of the film is The Underbug, screening at Slamdance. I've been talking with the director, Shujaat Saudagar, and one of the stars, producer, Ali Fazal. It's been great having you both on the show.
thank you.
Pleasure was
Amazing.
ours.
Thank you
so
much.
Thank you so much.
We didn't even get to talk about your acting.
I know.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Criminy.
Yeah.
So well done.
In 8 days, I'm like,
Yes.
how much wine did you have to drink after the end of every night? It was so stressful.
Yeah.
We eat a lot of food.
Oh
The
yeah.
biryani.
Yeah, I had to get
I was
food.
gonna ask where you got that biryani. It was so
Yeah.
good.
But that biryani is an amazing story because, I told them you're not going to eat, and we had shipped it from Bombay because we shot on the outskirts and we had 2 large portions of it. And these guys had not eaten anything, I wanted to shoot that scene first thing in the morning. So I said, don't eat breakfast, don't eat anything. And they were like, we're starving. And they went at it, and they kept on eating by the afternoon. And I was walking around in some dark corner. Ali's passed out on the floor somewhere. Hussein is crashed, under a sofa or something. I was like, what the hell is happening, guys?
Is that when you had to get your pants altered?
Yeah.
After that scene?
Just don't commit so much to movies. That's my message to actors.